100 with none other than James Fortune. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Good to be with you. Thank you for having me, man.
Man, my pleasure. Big man, please switch the music a little bit to the Keep It 100 music.
Oh, you want that? Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
Oh, we gonna pray right now. So James, listen. I just want to talk to you, and we got to keep it 100 during this segment.
Yeah.
I Trust You 2009 blows up.
Yeah.
I Need Your Glory 2010.
Yeah.
Hold On 2013.
Yeah.
God Still Able 2014. Multiple awards. You're traveling the country on a fast pace to actually being, if not arguably, one of the most influential gospel music producers ever. And then October 2014 happens.
Yeah.
You walk in the house. What happens?
October 2014, I was arrested for domestic violence against my wife Cheryl, and you know, it was something that there's no way I saw it coming. I didn't understand really what domestic violence was. I thought it was just physical abuse. You know, of course, now after going through therapy for almost 2 years, I know it's much more than that. But I physically assaulted my wife.
Yeah.
Now, you know, of course, there were, you know, many reports out that were false about, you know.
So the bar stool.
No, that wasn't true.
That wasn't true.
My wife having broken bones, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
No internal injuries, nothing like that. I did physically remove her from our room, and man, I was wrong. You know, and a lot of people were wanting me to talk, you know, when it happened, and a lot of people were requesting interviews, and I thank God that I'm not talking until right now.
Yeah.
Because I know for sure, bro, had I talked then, it would have been a lot of denying, a lot of making excuses, a lot of justifying, a lot of minimizing, a lot of blaming other people. And God had to work on me, man. And now I can sit here and be accountable and say, you know what? It was nobody's fault but my own.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I did something I never thought I would do. And I have to live with those consequences and the effect that it's had not on just my ministry, which that's not important when it comes to my family and my children.
Right. So let's go back into this house. You go in, you're in this room, you all are tussling.
Yeah.
And you picked the wrong decision to restrain her in a way that became physical abuse. If you could rewind the clock and you walk in and you all are going back and forth, how could you have got out of that situation? Like, what would have been the thing that you would have done differently as you look back, hindsight?
In that particular moment, I should have just left.
Okay.
You know, I should have left. And now being in the class with a lot of brothers, you know, I do individual therapy, and I'm also doing group therapy. Man, we're all sitting in there, and I tell you that, and even our therapist tells us, there's not one man that's come through her doors, and as we're all talking together, that hasn't said, you know what, I would never put my hands on a woman.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we were disgusted by people who did, by seeing someone else do it. So it's for us, it was helping us to understand really what abuse is.
Yeah.
There's 18 forms of abuse, and only one of them is physical.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times physical is usually the last one, because domestic violence is not so much about anger. I thought it was just, I need to go deal with anger. It's about power and control.
Power and control. So growing up, did you see this type of behavior in your home?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of people say, you know, usually abusers, either they were abused themselves or they saw it was a learned behavior. But that wasn't nothing that I saw, you know, as my father and my mom. My dad was a pastor. I never saw him one single time be abusive in a violent way, or even in an emotional or psychological way, or anything like that.
I'm hanging out with James Fortune right now, if you're just not tuning in. And so, you know, I told you this publicly, and I told you behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I told you that I lost my sister to domestic violence. She was killed by her husband.
Yeah.
And so it was a little personal to me, but I thank God that, you know, I was able to forgive him. And I told you, you know, I know this is a Christian show, but if that was my sister or my mother, like, you know what, that rage and that anger, I would have had to come see you. I had to come holler at you.
Yeah.
And now that I look back, when you have a dis-ease, maybe that's not the right reaction. Coming to fight, coming to beat somebody's head in.
Yeah.
Like, what can a family member do to a person who went through what you went through to not, you know, because we can all come in, but you can't beat a dis-ease out of a person.
Yeah.
What's the right reaction?
The reaction to someone who's been abusive to your family member?
To your family member.
Well, I mean, responding in violence, that's only going to get you in trouble. You know, you're going to be dealing with what I had to deal with. You're going to be locked up. You're going to be going to jail.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect your family,
Yeah.
you know, your wife, your children. You know, one of the most violent parts of a relationship is when the victim tries to leave. Violence goes up 70%.
Yeah.
And it's about helping them understand you need to get out of the situation, but let's talk about how we're going to do it. Sometimes it's not always best to say I'm leaving you, because sometimes if it's a controlling person, at that moment they feel like they've totally lost control.
Yeah.
And so anything can happen at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as how you deal with somebody abuse someone that you love, I would never advise anybody to respond in anger. I would advise you to get that person out of that situation if that abusive person is not trying to get help.
Listen, family, we're keeping it 100 with James Fortune. If you have any questions that you want me to ask James, follow me on Twitter at PWillie1, PWILLIE, the number 1. When we come back, James, I got to attack this elephant that's in the room.
Yeah.
The plea.
Yeah.
You pleaded guilty to what they said you did. I want to talk to you about why, and why was this an option for you. More with James Fortune coming up, family. I want you to stick around.
It's the Willie Moore Jr. Show.